First of all, let's get to the first panel, Research and Digitization Empower Museums. Museums have become the playground for innovation where new technologies are developed and applied to everyday life. Digital innovations make museums more accessible and approachable and help audience understand complex and abstract concepts. Now, let's welcome the first group of the speakers to make their presentation. It's given by the Professor Marie-Louise Bech, NOSCH, the President of Royal Danish Academy of Science and Letters, and also the professor at the University of Copenhagen. And Dr. Ulla, research professor at the Ancient Cultures of Denmark and the Mediterranean, National Museum of Denmark. Their theme of presentation is integrating communities of textile craftspeople in textile research in museums and universities, silk in Viking age contexts.
Dear colleagues all over the world, dear colleagues in China, we congratulate you and we wish we could be you on this great occasion. My name is Marie-Louise NOSCH and I'm from Denmark. I'm professor at the University of Copenhagen and I do research in textiles because I'm one of the founders of the Center for Textile Research. My research is mainly about ancient Greece, and the textile production and all the meanings that are put into clothing. But I'm also very interested in sustainability and how we can produce textiles in the 21st century in a more sustainable way, and how we can use cultural heritage to solve that problem.
My name is Ulla and I am a research professor at the National Museum of Denmark. I am an archaeologist and I am the lucky person responsible for the unique Danish collections of prehistoric textiles and clothing. Through my professional life, in a period also employed at Center for Textile Research and one of the co-founders of the Center for Textile Research at the University of Copenhagen. But here at the museum, I work with the Danish collections and at the moment I have my primary focus on Viking age textiles and textile production, and especially the reconstruction of the Viking age clothing.
So we have visited China National Silk Museum and Professor Cao Feng several times, and we are very much in admiration for the work that is done in China National Silk Museum, and we believe that it's also especially the great collaboration that there is between universities and museums. And here in Denmark we experience the same value from collaboration between universities and museums. I have, for example, as professor in the university, been focusing very much on ancient texts about textiles. What are they about? Salaries to textile workers, prices of textiles, names for textiles, and all the information we can gain about textiles from text. But it has enriched my research very much that I collaborate with researchers like Ulla and archaeologists and museum staffs all over the world in order to see what is the real material that we are looking at, real textiles, textile tools, and to gain knowledge of the material culture in combination with texts. And what about you?
Yes, I would say that as a researcher at the museum, I know, just like you probably also know, how important artifacts are. And the artifacts are the first step into the fantastic history of mankind. And we would very much like to just give you a small insight into the Danish collections. And we are of course so proud that in the Viking age, this is the first time when silk appears in the Nordic culture. So whenever we have the unique and very rare finds of silk in the Viking Age context, we know exactly that we have long distance trade and connections that are very, very important for the culture and exchange the knowledge of materials and as for of knowledge itself of how to produce and produces these materials.
So we will take you on a little virtual tour to the great collections of Viking Age textiles and the fine silks that came all the way up here to Scandinavia. Will you show us, Ulla?
I will definitely.
Thank you.
So, welcome to the Viking Age exhibition at the National Museum of Denmark. I here stand before one of the very fantastic exhibition showcases where we have one of the most fabulous male graves presented with the artifacts that was found in this burial. It's a male burial in a large chamber. It's dated to 970-971 AD, and the find was excavated in 1868. The long strip you see in the middle here in the showcase is a very fantastic silk textile. Due to its present condition, you cannot see the original colors, but it was originally a red textile with a white heart motif, small hearts in a grid pattern. And it's a very unique silk that we have not found any parallels to yet anywhere in Europe. It has this unique shape, had seams on all sides, so probably it was sewn onto a clothing item. We don't know which one in this burial, but we see this as a sign of the connection to the Viking raids, as a token that this person was probably also a person who took part in a long voyage, maybe to Byzance, in order to acquire the attractive and very expensive silk. And that was then, when they returned to the Nordic area, cut into small strips as a currency, as a token of this connection to the Viking raids, which is, in a modern language, actually hard currency. So here you see the two reconstructed Viking Age female and male clothing items, outfits that we have made for the project Fashioning the Viking Age. They are almost exact copies of the textiles that were found in these two high-status graves, Bjerringhøj and Hvilehøj, which are late Viking Age burials from Denmark. The textiles and the materials that are used are to be interpreted in a local tradition, but a lot of the materials that are used in making these are actually imports, and most of the costumes are made of wool textiles and fur items and fur animals, which could be hunted in this Nordic area. But most of the decorations that are seen on these costumes, on the other hand, are exotic materials like silk and gold and silver threads. And the bands that they use to decorate their costumes are so rare and expensive. And today has been really a huge challenge in order to find craftspeople that still are able to make reproductions like this and knows these ancient techniques. And most of the decoration are very discreet but still in a Viking Age fashion term, they would have signalized that the fact that these people had access to the most exquisite and most expensive materials that could be acquired in the Nordic area. The fur is made of beaver, which is a very exotic species at that time in the Viking Age. And this woman's clothing was actually dyed with the dye kermes, which is a dye stuff they would have traded from the Mediterranean area. So altogether, even though it seems to be a very local clothing tradition with local ways of decorating your costumes, in the details they also managed to signalize the fact that these people had access to the whole world in via trade and to display in their costumes.
We have been very good friends for many years, and both of them are members of the Textile Research Center of the Danish National Foundation. In 2009, they visited Hangzhou, and we held the Wool on the Silk Road Symposium. We also visited Denmark for several times, attending a lot of academic symposiums, such as the European Science Open Forum. We also co-edited the Global Textile Encounters. Maria is a regular member of the academic committee of our textile conservation research base, while the National Museum of Denmark has also joined our Silk Road Online Museum project. Their presentation theme is exactly what we care about, because our Silk Museum also has very close ties with the universities, such as the Zhejiang University, Donghua University, and in particular, Zhejiang Scientific University. Jointly, we set up an international silk school and have nurtured a good number of students.